Thank you for tuning into our seller interview series. Up today, we've got a dropshipping business for sale in the technology niche. Created in September 2014, this business makes $12,760 per month in net profit, and the listing number for the business is 44486. We do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the businesses they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got the seller with us today to go through the business and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. Adam, thank you for coming on here today. How are you doing?
Really good. I'm excited to speak with you about the business.
Yeah, me too. Very excited. I mean, you built a business that's valued at nearly $500,000. That is no small feat, and I'm eager to sit and chat with you about, kind of where the business is today. But before we get to those questions, I want to go ahead and run through a little quick summary of the business. Again, the business was built in September of 2014, has a monthly revenue of $167,509, expenses of $154,749 to make for a net profit of $12,760, which is generated on a 12-month average. Included in the sale of this business are the primary domain and all site content and files, email list, all social media pages, Shopify account, and supplier contacts. Adam, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, this is actually my first business. It started off as a project and kind of just snowballed into what it is today.
And now that we're here today, like I said before, you've built this massive business. So now that we're here today, why have you decided to sell it since it's your first business and it's going well?
I have an opportunity to invest in some real estate, so I need an investment money for that. I would also like to go through the entire process or life cycle of owning a business from start to finish. And when the opportunity presents itself, I'd like to start another e-commerce business, maybe multiple, and continue just to start businesses from scratch, grow them to a certain point, and then put them up for sale.
Why did you settle upon this particular niche?
I kind of just stumbled into this. I was tired of working the 9-to-5 job in a cubicle, and I was trying to figure out a business I could start with that would be low investment, and I found one in technology. And the more studying I did, I realized that I did not have to hold an inventory, and which gave me the opportunity to get off with minimal cost.
So Adam, when you look back over the last year, one thing you notice is that the numbers are, up one month and then a little lower the next month and then really high the next month. And so I guess my question is, causes the up and down for the business, and then what caused the business to be a little under in May?
There's multiple things going on. I was doing a lot of testing, trying out new advertising strategies, new pay-per-click strategies, different pricing strategies as well. The pricing with my suppliers, I have on average per SKU, I have about a half dozen different choices and of different suppliers. And sometimes a supplier will raise their prices and to be higher than mine. And it's all about supply and demand. And the way I was currently fulfilling orders is I was having processors that virtual assistants fulfilled my orders for me, and if they weren't careful, they would end up purchasing or sending a product from my supplier at a higher cost than I was receiving, causing me to do a transaction at a loss. That a little bit of everything, all those components going on, which would create a little bit of spike, valleys, and peaks with my monthly profit and loss reports. And those are probably some of the biggest things causing that.
Then when you look at the business as it is today, how much time do you need to invest in the business on a daily basis or even a weekly basis as the owner of it?
It varies. It depends on how involved I want to get. The way it's currently ran, it requires minimum involvement. Basically kind of function as a CEO. I work with an ad agency who does the advertising, and I'll get on monthly calls with them to review the advertising reports and tell them what kind of tweaks I would like to make, if any. And I also have someone who does the back end customer service and several other back end duties. And I will check in with them a couple times a week to see if there's any questions that they have if I gave them authority, they would handle everything on their own. But I like to kind of keep a pulse on what's going on. So I do have them flag me or tag me on certain items if they have a question on how they would like for me to proceed. But it's very minimal. There's a couple times a year in which I will add new listings or product pages to the website, but that's about it.
And then when you look at the social media pages for the business and the email list, does that make up the marketing that you do for the business?
No, actually, it's evenly distributed across all advertising channels. Web advertising, there's no Amazon or eBay, which those would be potentially great channels to launch on.
So when you say the traditional advertising, or I guess traditional online advertising, what all are you doing for the business?
I am on the search engines, I'm on the social media platforms. I've done very minimal content generation, which would be a potential area that the buyer can focus on. But it's mainly the search engines and a little bit of social media.
What do you feel are the major opportunities for growth that you would focus on for the business if you were to keep it?
Currently, I'm only selling a couple of brands when there's literally probably about a dozen to 2 dozen more brands I could add. And I'm also not even selling all of the models of the current brands that I currently offer. So there's a lot of potential there. As I said, you could also expand onto eBay and Amazon. Also, I don't do any sort of influencer or affiliate marketing, and there's several really good influencers out there that you could partner up with.
Speaking of expanding to a platform, say Amazon, why did you decide to start with your own Shopify website rather than setting up with Amazon FBA?
I like to travel a lot, and it just gives me the flexibility to kind of work from wherever. There was a time in late 2014, early 2015, in which I held an inventory for a little while, testing it out. And that is an option to go back to holding an inventory. That way you can get better profit margins and brand. That is a direction that the new buyer could easily take it if they wanted to.
Do you feel like the business has any potential risks associated with it that you want a new owner to be aware of?
Not that I can see, other than risks that any business would come across, like maybe potential competitors or potential tariffs. But if there was, all of my competitors would have to play by the same rules. So I don't really see any risks other than general risks that any business would have.
Would you commit to a non-compete?
Would I commit to one?
Yes.
Yes.
And how much support are you willing to offer a new owner during the transition period?
That's very negotiable. When I sell this business, I don't currently have an income set up. So keeping me on would be a very attractive idea. I'd be happy to discuss that. And yeah, so I'm totally open for that.
Are you willing to negotiate on something like an earnout?
Potentially, I'm willing to discuss it. And if it's favorable for both parties, then it's something I would definitely consider pursuing.
Awesome, Adam. Thank you so much. I do have another question for you, but before we get to that, I want to go ahead and run through that quick summary of the business again. The business was built in September of 2014, has a monthly revenue of $167,509, expenses of $154,749 to make for a net profit of $12,760, which is generated on a 12-month average. Included in the sale of this business are the primary domain and all site content and files, an email list, all social media pages, Shopify account, and supplier contacts. Adam, looking at this business objectively, why do you feel like it is a business worth buying?
I think there's a lot of potential. I honestly, over the past year or so, I've just let it sit on autopilot and haven't really contributed much to optimizing and growing the business. So there's a lot of different loose ends that could be tied right immediately for increased profit on day one. Just doing that, just optimizing what's currently there. And then there's a lot of growth as far as adding other brands and also more models within the couple of brands that I am selling. Also, as previously stated, I'm only currently on the web, and I'm not currently on eBay or Amazon, which there's huge potential right there. Also, you could hold an inventory, which would give you better profit margins and the ability to brand. Also, there's really good influencers that you could partner up with to drive traffic to your store that way as well.
Adam, thank you so much for taking the time today to discuss this business with me. I really appreciate it.
I enjoyed speaking with you about the store, and I enjoyed my time discussing it with you today.
If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. And if you want more information, the link will be below the video that will take you to this marketplace listing. If you're watching this on the listing site and want more information, become a depositor today. When you make the deposit, one of our business advisors will be in contact with you. You'll be given everything you need to review this business. Have a great day.